it doesn't matter कि आपको फलाना स्टैक आता है या फलाना स्टैक नहीं आता, you must be able to solve a problem. Primarily I would say कि mostly जो हमारा काम है that happens to be in Django, Python and React, लेकिन because we are a development company, we do projects from all different walks of technology. We have option कि अगर आप एक ही client के ऊपर या एक ही project के ऊपर you've been working for a while, you can switch teams. Your soft skills and your people skills and communication skills are much more important than what you actually technically bring to the table. एक typical software engineer at Arbisoft, obviously it shouldn't come as a surprise कि सिर्फ code नहीं लिखता है. No matter what language you use, no matter what tech stack you use, no matter what framework you use, the problem that you're trying to solve is the same. So instead of learning the tool that solves that problem, you should just learn how to solve the problem. Assalamu alaikum, मेरा नाम Muhammad Abdullah है and I'm a senior software engineer at Arbisoft. मैं 2 साल से Arbisoft में काम कर रहा हूँ and my experience here has been amazing. So I thought I'll share some of the insights that I have and maybe answer some questions for you. So the experiences and technical skills that we look in potential candidates at Arbisoft. First and foremost, problem solving skills are a must. It doesn't matter कि आपको फलाना स्टैक आता है या फलाना स्टैक नहीं आता, you must be able to solve a problem. They could be of any kind. They could be a data structures related problem. They could be an algorithm. They could be, a real life scenario that you need to build. But that's the first thing that we look for, especially people in my team that they look for, is कि आप कितनी efficiency से और किस तरह से आपका thought process है जिसके through you solve a problem. That is the first thing. उसके बाद ये कि your approach to challenges. Obviously, there's going to be problems that you cannot solve right off the bat, right? So the way you approach that problem determines and tells us a lot about how you think and whether you'll be able to arrive at a solution or not. तो ये 2 चीज़ें तो हमारी काफ़ी टॉप के ऊपर आती हैं कि प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग स्किल्स एंड हाउ यू अप्रोच अ प्रॉब्लम. एंड देन देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ सॉफ्ट स्किल्स जो साथ साथ में हम ऑब्जर्व करते हैं एंड वी ट्राई टू learn as much about you from the multiple interview process that we have. So problem solving, your approach to problem, your soft skills, how you communicate, how you're able to verbalize your thoughts. It's a lot of these things that give us a holistic view of how you are as a person and how well of a technical person you are. So this is how we see. Of course, और भी बहुत सारी चीज़ें and I can't tell you all of my secrets. But in general, if you're looking to get hired by a company, you should focus on problem solving and you should be able to approach a problem that you right off the bat cannot solve with efficiency. Programming languages and tools that we use at Arbisoft. Primarily, I would say कि mostly जो हमारा काम है that happens to be in Django, Python and React. लेकिन because we are a development company, we do projects from all different walks of technology. तो मैं खुद मेरा primary जो experience है that's been in .NET, but यहाँ पे .NET में भी काम है. We have PHP, we have React a lot, we have Java, Kotlin, mobile development, Flutter, all that sort of stuff. So the question doesn't really stand because we do everything. लेकिन statistically speaking, mostly जो हमारा काम है that is in Python. Okay, so you joined as a software engineer, but now you want to do something else. So what can Arbisoft do to help you in that regard? सबसे पहले आपको figure out करना होगा कि what it is that you want to do, if not write code, and what options there are. So if you do not want to be a software engineer anymore, या software engineering के साथ आप कुछ और भी करना चाह रहे हो, तो let's say you want to become a project manager, या you want to become a software architect, या फिर आप scrum master, या there's a lot of things that you want to do. Even something as simple as front end से back end पे switch करना है या development से QA में switch करना है. For all of these cases, हमारे पास ये है कि we have documented processes for all of these things. So let's say कि मैं कहता हूँ यार I've done enough back end, now I want to do some front end work, या I want to change the way that I code, या मैं बिल्कुल एक different चीज़ में करता हूँ. तो we provide a lot of different things. आपको mentorship यहाँ पे मिलती है. You are assigned a mentor and you spend some one-on-one time with them as well as discuss with a bunch of other people, and then there's a roadmap that you can follow, जिसको follow करते हुए step by step you can incorporate yourself into the other areas of technology that you want to potentially work in. So you start by figuring out what you want, and then we help you figure out exactly how to get there, and we set clear goals and we monitor your performance throughout. और फिर उसके साथ साथ आपको अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ भी उसके साथ साथ मिलती रहती है. तो लेट्स से कि राइट ऑफ द बैट आपके लिए कोई अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं है, तो इट्स नॉट लाइक कि आपको ऐसा कह दिया जाएगा कि नहीं भाई यू आर स्टक विद दिस, आप यू जस्ट स्टक बीइंग अ बैक एंड डेवलपर. इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट. आपको कुछ ट्रेनिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स मिल जाएंगे या यू विल बी contributing towards open source या any something like that. तो आपके पास constant growth का भी एक opportunity मिलती रहेगी, and you'll also keep getting a chance to work in the field that you actually want to work. So software development lifecycle is a sort of a complicated thing to talk about because there is no one size fits all. If you guys are familiar with some of the techniques, हम अगर agile methodologies की तरफ जाते हैं तो you have a lot of ceremonies where you refine your backlog, you estimate, और आप approvals लेते हो, फिर आप development करते हो, testing करते हो, UAT होती है, all that stuff. On the other hand, कुछ companies होती हैं, there are some startups जो prefer करते हैं कि we just code on the go, we just ship code on the go, जैसे जैसे requirements आती जा रही हैं कर लें. तो if I talk about Arbisoft, again, there's no one size fits all. It all depends on the nature of the project and the kind of client that we have, and also what the preferences of the client are. Sometimes ऐसा होता है कि we work in collaboration with the client to figure out the best process that is, but generally यही होता है कि you analyze the requirements first, you gather the requirements first, you analyze them, and then you dish out some accurate estimations, और फिर उसकी बेस के ऊपर आपकी टीम डिलीवर करती है प्रोजेक्ट eventually into production, जिसके साथ साथ आप टेस्टिंग भी करते रहते हो and then maintenance भी करते रहते हैं. Again, it hugely depends on the kind of project that it is. For example, अगर आपने एक छोटी सी वेबसाइट ही बनानी है एक पोर्टफोलियो वाली, तो उसके लिए doesn't make sense कि आप बैठ के रिक्वायरमेंट डॉक्यूमेंट्स लिखो और ये करो वो करो और 2-3 महीने का लंबा प्रोसेस फॉलो करो. You can just dish out, write down some basic requirements and get started and get feedback from the client on the way and iterate on that. On the other hand, if you have a big project, जिस तरह कोई let's say कोई government system बनाना है या it's a huge database that needs a lot of subsystems and microservices to maintain, तो उस केस में it would be most likely जो process follow होगा it would be कि concrete requirements gather हो, we have agile teams जो daily meet कर रही हों, stand-ups कर रही हों, and they're following all the agile principles. So that's how it works. Career growth. Okay, so this is a doozy because what do you mean career growth? Do you mean like an increase in salary? Do you mean an increase or a better title? या फिर आपको किस तरह की promotion चाहिए? But in general, जिस perspective से मैं growth को देखता हूँ, वो है कि are you getting a chance to work on increasingly challenging projects, and if you are able to build your own portfolio as an engineer. So from that perspective, Arbisoft provides a lot of these opportunities, and you might be thinking, okay, in what way? Number one, जिस तरह शुरू में जो एक हर बंदे की होती है कि यार the time that I've spent in a position should be rewarded with an appropriate title या फिर an appropriate promotion. So that whole process obviously exists and is in place. वो I think आपको pod से ज़्यादा बेहतर पता चल जाएगा. But in terms of your personal growth या in terms of technical challenges, we have option कि अगर आप एक ही client के ऊपर या एक ही project के ऊपर you've been working for a while, you can switch teams and look for something better. और फिर we have regular check-ins with our mentors and our managers, and what we do is we try to figure out कि अच्छा you've been working with these kind of things and these sort of projects for a while, so let's try to increase the challenge that you're facing and upskill you in a ways. उसके लिए we have recurring trainings, regular trainings होती हैं. You can request a training as well. You can get a mentor जो आपको अपनी जिस फील्ड में आप जाना चाह रहे हो, जिस स्टैक को आप फॉलो करना चाह रहे हो, they'll help you get there. And उसके साथ साथ आपको आपके designation की base के ऊपर भी there is a bunch of things that unlock. Let's not get into that. But in terms of growth, you can switch your teams. You can work on more challenging projects, and you'll proverbial corporate ladder जो आप climb करते हो, you'll be doing that if you decide to work at Arbisoft. Soft skills and people skills. My opinion on this might be very different from a lot of other people, so this is purely my own opinion. I think if not equally important, your soft skills and your people skills and communication skills are much more important than what you actually technically bring to the table. Because let's look at it this way, technical skills तो एक prerequisite है, right? You have to have a certain level of skills जिसकी base के ऊपर you reach the door. I mean, you start working in the industry and you write good code, let's say, and you are smart in problem solving, you can figure out solutions to build products and different projects. That's fine. But what differentiates you from other engineers is very rarely, unless it's very exceptional, it's very rarely your technical skills. It's how you present yourself, how you communicate. अगर आप काम करते हो, आपने कोड लिखा है, अच्छा खासा कोड लिखा है, but आपके पास ये ability है ही नहीं कि आप किसी को बता सको कि मैंने इस तरह से ये कोड लिखा है, या you're not able to emphasize कि आपने कितना काम किया, कैसे किया, तो it's in a lot of ways वो quantify नहीं हो पाता. Because we have processes here at Arbisoft, तो हम उसको still quantify कर लेते हैं, it's all good. लेकिन in terms of importance, I would say कि आपकी your ability to communicate, your ability to talk to different kinds of people and eliciting requirements out of them, या just communicating your own point. I think it's very very important, and it's not something जिसको आपको deprioritize करना चाहिए, या फिर ये कोई ऐसी चीज़ नहीं जिसको आप कहो कि यार आई डोंट नीड टू फोकस टू मच ऑन दैट, अगर मैं अच्छा कोड लिख लूँगा तो मैं बहुत अच्छा इंजीनियर बन जाऊँगा. श्योर यूड बी अ गुड इंजीनियर, बट टू सर्वाइव इन द इंडस्ट्री यू नीड मच मोर देन जस्ट बी एबल टू राइट कोड. तो आई वुड से कि इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. Continuing from what I just said earlier about soft skills, एक typical software engineer at Arbisoft, obviously it shouldn't come as a surprise कि सिर्फ कोड नहीं लिखता है. एक टिपिकल सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर रिक्वायरमेंट्स गैदरिंग भी करता है, एक टिपिकल सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर कोड भी लिखता है, ऑफ कोर्स वो उस कोड को टेस्ट भी करता है. ही अंडरस्टैंड्स the reason why he's writing code, because that is one of the more important parts of being an engineer. So he's also documenting his code, he's writing documents, he's communicating with the stakeholders, which in case could be clients, या अगर internal है तो there's other members. He's collaborating with other engineers जो उसकी team के अंदर है, या maybe outside the team. He's communicating with the company and a lot of things. So जो सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट लाइफ साइकिल है उसके अंदर जितने भी लोग इन्वॉल्व हैं, जितने भी स्टेप्स इन्वॉल्व हैं, एन इंजीनियर एट Arbisoft would typically be involved in all of those steps, whether they require technical knowledge, whether they require business knowledge. And this brings me to another very important point, and it is related to what our software engineers do at Arbisoft. We don't only have to understand the code that we're writing, but we also have to understand why we're writing this code, and जिस product के लिए हम ये लिख रहे हैं, या जिस project के लिए हम लिख रहे हैं, what is that project? So if I'm working in if I'm building a product that belongs in, let's say, the automobile industry, so I would also be researching कि वो जो automobile industry में ये specific niche है, what does it do, how does it work, or the business requirements. So to cut it short, you would be writing documents, you would be writing code, you would be attending a lot of meetings, you would be communicating a lot, and this is just a small part of what a software engineer does at Arbisoft and in general as well. Okay, so my advice for people trying to build a career in computer science is, there's a bunch of things, but let's start with the most important ones that I think matter the most. First of all, your focus should not be कि मैंने ये वाला stack सीखना है, या मैंने front end engineering सीखनी है, या मैंने back end करना है, या DevOps करना है, या ये करना है, आजकल इस चीज़ का scope है तो मैंने ये करना है. I think that's a very rudimentary analysis of how the computer science industry works. And the biggest motivator, not a motivator, but the biggest thing in your mind that matters the most should be कि I like to build things and I want to learn how to build things. अब क्या है कि let's take an example. एक कुछ अर्सा पहले, we saw a huge e-commerce boom, and suddenly these e-commerce stores starting popping up everywhere. So there were a lot of people who only learned how to build applications using the tech stack जो उस time पे common थे. Now what that does is कि जब वो वाला trend खत्म होता है, तो now you are outdated. Now your skills don't really matter, because all you know how to do is to build e-commerce websites. You don't know how to build products. उसके लिए ये है कि जब हम यूनिवर्सिटी में स्टार्ट करते हैं तो वी आर टॉट अ लॉट ऑफ द फंडामेंटल्स, जिस तरह डेटा स्ट्रक्चर्स और एल्गोरिथम्स होते हैं, देयर इज सॉफ्टवेयर डिजाइन, देयर इज ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम्स. माय एडवाइस इज टू absorb as much of that as you can and understand the practical applications of those things. So no matter what language you use, no matter what tech stack you use, no matter what framework you use, the problem that you're trying to solve is the same. So instead of learning the tool that solves that problem, you should just learn how to solve the problem. And your tools हैं बीच में, that's an additional thing. You would just acquire that as you go. अगर मैं सिर्फ अपनी example दूँ, तो there's been plenty of times where I have not been familiar with the language that I'm working in at all. But if I understand the process of building something, या मुझे पता है कि प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कैसे करते हैं, या फ्रंट एंड्स फॉर एग्जांपल फ्रंट एंड्स किस तरह क्रिएट होते हैं, देयर इज अ यूआई लेयर, उसके पीछे एक फ्रेमवर्क की लेयर है दैट इज कम्युनिकेटिंग विद द एपीआई एंड द एपीआई इज कम्युनिकेटिंग विद द डेटाबेस. इन जनरल इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड दीज थिंग्स, you would never have to worry about कि यार मैंने इस टैग में काम करना है, इस टैग में काम करना. Of course there are times या there are cases where you would require a lot of depth in one particular thing in order to solve that very specific problem. But in general, at least in your early years, at least like 4 to 5 years, try to acquire as much information as you can, try to learn as many technologies as you can, and learn how to solve problems. I cannot stress this enough. This is the biggest thing that a software engineer can have, and this is one thing that will set you apart from the other engineers. कि अगर आपको problem solving आती है, you'll be able to learn everything, you'll be able to learn every tech stack that there is. AI in a job market affect की है कि नहीं? बिल्कुल की है, but I would like to clarify that AI has only affected the job market for people who have not demonstrated the capabilities that a good engineer usually has. So like I said, अगर आप e-commerce store सिर्फ आपको बनाने आते तो of course you're replaceable, and the rise of AI has led to some of the jobs being deprecated or काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें जो निकल भी गई हैं. बट आई वुड से अगेन कि इफ़ यू आर अ गुड सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर, not a web developer, not a .NET developer, not a Java developer, if you're a software engineer, you don't really have to worry about the job market or the openings or whatever there is. So AI has definitely impacted some of the jobs, but I also, this is again a disclaimer, this is my personal opinion. The trend that we see with AI and the job market has to be a trend that will eventually normalize over time, because जब भी कोई नई चीज़ आती है तो there is a lot of hype around it, and most of the times it doesn't work out, sometimes it does work out, but eventually होता है कि things come back to normal. So even though there is some disruption in the market, I would agree, I still think it's not something that is very long lasting, and because हमने technology को इतना deeply ingrain कर दिया into every single thing in our life, it's very unlikely that the job market would continue to be in a decline. What I really like about Arbisoft is the diversity of challenges that we get to solve here, as well as the opportunities that are provided to us in terms of growth and also our work-life balance.